What's up, YouTube? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday night live stream. No Prestige Reef Doc show today, of course, because Ryan is slacking and having time off for the first time in like 10 years, which is I've told him is not acceptable, and yet here we are. And I've just put up I've put a light up in a different place, and it's making my neck look really weird. So I'm just going to sort that out. Hang on a second. God's sake! Right, let's just try. Oh, that's way worse. That's way worse. Hang on a second. Talk amongst yourselves, don't worry. Don't worry me. Right. Professionalism rules missed. Right, yeah, that still looks pretty terrible, doesn't it? But that's fine. No one's noticed because I've not drawn any attention to it. Hello, how are you all? Today this is another Q&A chat, so you can ask me any question you want, and I will answer as many as I can, basically. Might not be here 2 hours, but we might be here 2 hours. We'll see. I've got the time, so if you got the questions, fire away. What else was I going to do? So next week as well. Next week we've got. Is it next week? Hang on. Have a look at the schedule. 21st of December is today. Yeah, it's today. 28th. Yes. So next week is we're going to have a guest on. I'm going to have East Coast Reefer. And potentially, I haven't asked him yet. So if you're watching now, this is me asking you. Potentially Harry from Spiritual Reefer. Harry, if you're up for it, let me know. I'll text you after the show anyway. So we've got guests next week. And then the week after that is Reefing Radio, which is the 4th of January. And that is the lads from the podcast. So, and then we're back to the Prestige Reef Talk show after that. And with a bit of luck, we might even have some news that has cropped up in the reefing world between now and then, because there's not a lot going on. So I have no news for you today, no news jingle, unfortunately. Right, let me bring you up to speed, though, with a few things that have been going on. So, do you like mashed potatoes? I do like mashed potatoes. Who doesn't like mashed potatoes? Yeah, I did say ask me anything, didn't I? Is the title, so I had that kind of question coming. Right, updates. Aquawiz. So the video this week, I talked last week. I said the video was going to be the Aquawiz review. That didn't happen. So I got to making it on whenever it was earlier this week, and I started to explain a few things in the video, and I thought, I don't know if this is actually correct. And I came across a couple of things. So it's got when you understand how it works, right? It's got 2 vials of water, 2 test tubes in it, and it aerates both of them to remove all of the CO2 or equalize them, basically. And then it knows the difference in pH between the two. But I found myself thinking, well, it's only got 1 pH probe. So how can it know what the pH is in both of them? If it's using a previous sample, then it doesn't need to degas both chambers. So I found myself thinking, I don't understand how this works properly, and I'd like to be able to explain it. And there are a couple of other things as well that I wanted to ask about. I fired off some questions. I emailed the distributor and asked if he was free for chat. But I was like, "Are you free for chat tomorrow?" It's Christmas and he's busy. Who'd have thought it? So I just said he did say that he'd accommodate me if I sent him everything in emails. But I just like, do you know what? Let me not rush you. Let's not rush this. Let's work it out afterwards. So that will be January at some point now, and I'll be able to explain everything a lot better then. So that is the Aquarius. So it's working fine for me. No real issues with it. I just need to understand a bit more about how it works so I can explain things properly. The second, right, so that was so this is right. This Friday I had, in inverted commas, had to do a video. Hang on, sip of beer. I had to do a video because it was a fortnight. So I'm on a fortnightly upload schedule at the moment, and this was week 2. So, and if I was uploading every week, I wouldn't mind missing one, but uploading every fortnight and missing one just feels a bit lame. So I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I need to do a video. And in any event, the second video that was on my list was unboxing the TMC tank. So I thought, no problem, nice and easy. Let's just do that. So I started unboxing it. I did most of the video, recorded it all, got the tank up on the cabinet, Was looking around it, just getting it all flush in the right place, and then I realised that there was a chip in the corner. So the tank has got a little what's the like a skirt, a little plastic skirt that it sits on, and that was cracked. And right in this corner just here, that was cracked, and also the glass was cracked as well. There was a chip in the glass, and the opposite corner I noticed afterwards as well. The plastic skirt was cracked as well, and it was in the corners. And when I looked at the box it came in, the corners were scrumpled as well. So it's obviously somewhat so that a delivery driver at some point has obviously dropped it um, twice and broken it. I was quite surprised because it comes in this massive box with polystyrene in it, and that box is in another box with more polystyrene in it. So it's really well packaged. Didn't expect it to be broken, but I guess I just got unlucky. So I had to had to put that on hold because I can't do. I want that video to include putting water in the tank, so it's not going to be sitting up properly. But I want to get water in it so you can see what it looks like with water in. And there's no point in making half an unboxing video, so I shelved that as well. TMC have sent through another one. That's that one there. The other one, the one that's broken, is now in the tip, but that is a new one. That is not scratched. There's no damage on it whatsoever. Actually, I've not had a. I'm just looking over my shoulder now, thinking, have I checked it? I'm pretty sure it's fine. So that one is fine. So I'll be doing that. Is going to be the next video, because I don't need to ask any questions about that. I know everything about it. Actually, I talked to someone yesterday at my local fish shop who's got that tank. So it's really useful to ask him how he's getting on with it, if he's got any issues, all that sort of thing. So there we go. So that is going to be the next video for sure. Will be the TMC First Wave 78 series. And on that note, so I've lost the little brackets, but I've also made at some point. So the light in there, that is not the TMC light. That is an AI Blade 21-inch, and I've 3D printed some brackets that hold the AI Blade 21-inch, and they are in that tank now. They're on my Etsy store, reeftalk.etsy.com. And what was I going to say? Yes. Oh, and actually, in order to install them, you need to slide the brackets onto the blade and then screw them into the lid. Really easy. It's actually a slightly better design than the previous one. Anyway, that is useful information for about 3 people. So I think we're up to speed. Are we up to speed? Yeah, that tank at the moment, it's got the rock in it is the TMC centerpiece number 9, I think. What's that? Just a shadow. It's a TMC centerpiece number 9. These are the rocks that BRS Ryan, what's his name, Serious Reefs, have been talking about. He's a big fan of those. So I've got one of them, and the other half of the scape is going to be, because that's about half the tank there roughly in view. The other half of the scape is going to be a massive, well, not a massive, but a chunk of live rock that I've had in my sump for the last 18 months. So it'll be instantly cycled, and I won't need to worry about bottles of bacteria and all that sort of stuff, and ammonia spikes, although I've got one of them little ammonia alerts anyway, because of course you should always have one. So that is the TMC tank. The plan with that is to just get some water in it and get it running, maybe put some salt water in it over the next week or so, and then just leave it until after Christmas, and then whack a fish in, basically. I'm not likely to run that tank long term because I've got another tank coming. I've actually potentially got 3 tanks coming in the next couple of months. So I've got the TMC one, which is just going to be unboxing and sort of setting it up and those kind of videos, just showing you around it, telling you about finding out as much as I can about it, and sharing that information. The next tank is the Ultimate Nature Systems R75, which I will be running long term. Don't know when that's going to be here. The longer the better at the moment, but that's going to be next. And also, there's someone else has contacted me and asked me if I'd like to make a review of their tank. I can't run that long term as well, but it looks really nice. So I'll do an unboxing or a review of that. I don't quite know what I'll do with that, but there's another one coming as well. It's kind of nano size. It's got some really clever features that you won't see in any other tanks. So a few tanks being set up, but only one of them running long term. I can't deal with. I had 4 tanks, I don't know, a year and a half ago, something like that. 4 tanks running, way too much effort, too many water changes, too many tests. It was a nightmare. So I'm not doing that again. Actually, too much guilt, because I say too much testing, you just neglect the tests and then feel bad about it, and then sit there looking at your tank that's suffering. So, but there we go. So you're now up to speed with the tank situation. I did an update on the tank yesterday, the main tank. That was the main video. Since then, so I said in that one that the rabbitfish, my two-barred rabbitfish, started. I caught him scraping at the what was it? The Space Invader Pectinia. Space Invader, I think it was one, the Pectinia anyway. So I just decided, and the coral next to it have been looking a little bit kind of. They're not fully inflated. They're kind of. It looks like they've been deflated completely. And they're fine, they're healthy and they're growing. It's just they don't quite look like they should. So what I'm going to do is pull him out and see if that makes a difference. He's quite a big boy now anyway. I've had him sort of 3 or 4 years. To be fair, I could leave him in because he's not killing the corals. He's not gone on the rampage and demolishing everything like you hear some fish do. He's just scraping at a couple, and it's a big tank. There's a lot of coral in there. So if I liked him enough, I'd keep him. But really, when that happens, you've got to make the decision. Do you like the corals more or do you like the fish more? And I like the corals more, it turns out. So he's going, and I've got a fish trap in there at the moment. It went in Friday night maybe, and he's everyone else has been in, but he hasn't yet. He's too clever. So I'm putting more and more things in that are covered in algae to tempt him in. So he will be going soon. I'm just going to take him back to my local fish shop. Oh, actually, yeah. The other thing I saw, this was I posted on my Instagram. So let me just get let me share that as well. So this was a tank. I was looking back through the history of my. Oh, if I press that, it's going to share it straight away, and I don't want it to. I was looking back at the history of my like old photos from like Google Photos today, and I came across this tank, and this is from 2014. So I think, was this the year I got into the hobby? I think it was around then anyway. It was either that year or the year after. Yeah, it was 2014. So this was the year I got into the hobby, and this was one of the tanks that got me into it. Basically, it was at a shop called Tropical Paradise in Eastleigh, which no longer exists. And the guy who set up was called Cam. Cam's brilliant. He's got some tanks on Ultimate Reef. I don't think he's in the hobby at the moment, but he's got some old tanks on Ultimate Reef that are amazing. And it was this bad boy. So this is all lit by T5s. There are no power heads. So this was a closed loop system. And because it was 2014, and because of the way he ran his tanks, I think this just had a refugium and a skimmer in the summer. That was it, nothing else. So obviously this was pre-filter socks and all that sort of stuff. But it's just wicked. I absolutely love it. And it made me want to go back to D5s, although I don't like D5s because it just gives too flat a light, but it's just so nice. And just all the corals are really well put in together. The aquascape is wicked. And that made me think for my next tank, when I set the UNS tank up, I really like the idea of having one big island and one small island like that, because it just looks so cool. And that's a small tank. It was like a 2-foot cube, something like that. So it shows that you don't need loads and loads of rock work for you to still have loads of coral real estate, and also for it to look really good. So I just love that. It's so nice. Loads of really cool fish as well. Just beautiful corals, loads of variety of color, covered in coralline algae. And that also made me think about coralline, because I don't really have coralline in my tank, because I have urchins instead, which I think I'm happy with that decision. But sometimes I'm like, oh, coralline does look quite cool. But it's a wicked tank. I really liked it. So I thought I would share it. What else have I got to tell you? Oh yes, also I've got so I think next week we're going to do like a look back at the year, because it makes sense to do that at the end of the year. So I'm not going to do that, and we'll do a bit of a look ahead as well. But one thing that I've decided I'm going to do next year is I've just bought 6 ICP tests that will should arrive. They should arrive before January. So I'm going to buy another 6. But the plan is to send off an ICP test every month and follow what it says, and see how I get on with it, basically. So I can share my results, share what the tank looks like, if it made any improvements, if it made it worse, any problems I had, and just see what happens with that. Because I've done loads of ICP tests before, and I've adjusted some things on the back of it, but never consistently. So I figured if I buy a ton of them, then I can just do it and dose the trace elements it tells me to, do water changes if it tells me to, all that sort of stuff. So that's what I'm going to be doing. It's the ICP tests I've gone for are Tropic Marine. So I actually don't particularly like the way Tropic Marine set out the data in ICP tests. It's just a bit messy. It's just a bit hard. You've got to sit down and read it, take your time to absorb it. Whereas ATI, which is my preferred dashboard basically for ICP tests, ATI set it out really clearly. Instantly, you can see everything that's going on in your tank. It's just really easy to read. So I wanted to do ATI, but what I realized was that if I'm going to be following the guidance on it, I'll be needing those trace elements. I don't know if all companies have the same concentrations of trace, and they always say dose 1 milliliter of our bottle of X. It would probably be okay to use other trace elements, but ATI stuff is much harder to come by in the UK. Chocolate Marin is really easy. So I just figured, you know what, let's keep it simple, keep it all under one roof. So I'm going to be doing that. But yeah, there we go. Because I've obviously done ICP tests before, but never properly and never consistently for a long period of time. So we'll see how that goes. There's every chance that I'll get to a point where I've been doing it for 3 months and then I can't be bothered to send it off again. But I really want to stick to that. I think it will hold me accountable as well. Because if I'm getting an ICP test every month that tells me my parameters are all over the place, I think that'll guilt trip me into taking action and getting off my arse and stop being lazy. It's very easy to get lazy, especially with an LPS tank, and you think, I'll be all right. So there you go. That is the plan. Right. Member questions. Hang on 1 second. Let's bump that up a little bit. There we go. Right. So someone said I was quiet. Les, you said I was quiet. Is that better now? I've turned it up a bit. Member questions. Scroll down to the member questions. Oh, we've got a new one. Right. So first question is from Pickles Reef, and you made me do homework. And he says, Merry Christmas, Alex. What has been your top 3 reefing achievements this year? So I had to sit down because I don't remember squat, basically. So I've gone over my spreadsheet of purchases, and I've gone over my my Instagram photos, my YouTube videos, and my tank thread on Ultimate Reef that I haven't updated now for months. So, I mean, reefing achievements, the top 3 that stood out for me, and I don't think there's anything massive on here, but the top 3 that stood out for me were that I beat white spot and quarantined a handful of fish. So white spot hit at the back end of last year, about this time last year, November time maybe. And it was January when all the fish completed the quarantine process. So that was when I got through all of them. I'm just going to have a quick look in the chat. So January was when I got through it all, and that's when I put them all back in. I had issues with quarantine. I lost a couple of fish because of the treatment, or well, when I put the treatment in, basically, I think it was because of the treatment. So I just don't like quarantine still. But I did quarantine a few fish after that as well. The first batch of fish I put in, I think I put in half a dozen fish at the same time after I'd sorted all of my issues. And at that point, I decided to quarantine all of those guys because I was still nervous being fresh out of a disease issue. So I quarantined them successfully. No problems with them. They all went in the tank. Hang on a second. Yes, I quarantined all of those guys. What is it? Oh, I know what it's doing now. Quarantined all of those guys and quarantined fish for the first time in probably 9-10 years. So when I first set up a tank, when I first got into hobby, I started quarantining, but I didn't get on with it at all. I was probably doing something wrong, almost certainly doing something wrong, but I had all sorts of issues. I lost more fish than I saved in quarantine, so I didn't like it, so I stopped. So this time around, I quarantined a load of fish, beat white spot, treated the fish that contracted white spot, or Brooklyn Ella possibly as well, and then put it back in the tank. So that was number 1. Number 2 was I did. So I looked back on the channel to see which videos I thought I enjoyed the most, and I didn't look at. I should have looked at views to see if other people enjoyed them the most as well. Some of these did well, to be fair, so I wouldn't be surprised if these were the most watched ones too. But it was tank tours, so I did 6 tank tours this year, and I felt like actually I hadn't done that many, but 6 is actually a reasonable amount, to be fair, because they do take quite a lot of time arranging and traveling around, all that sort of stuff. So 6 tank tours was really good, and I'd like to do more next year. So that'll be cool. I think I've probably done something like 10 overall on the channel. I've got a playlist full of them, and they're really good fun. You learn stuff from other people because everyone does things differently, and everyone has success in different ways. So it's really interesting to do that. You just get to have a proper in-depth chat with loads of people who've got various different experiences doing various different things. So that was really cool. Yeah, so that was number 2, and the number 3 on my list was beating Aptasia, which have now come back with nudibranchs. So I'd used big ears before, I'd bought them before, but hadn't had success. And this time round, I whacked him in and did it properly. By which what do I mean by properly? What did I do differently this time? I gave them time. So I put them in and gave them a good 6 months, just left them to it. And eventually it did, it happened. So everybody says that if you're going to use Bagia nudibranchs to eat Aptasia, they will take the full 6 months, and they do, in my experience anyway. So that was my experience with them. They took ages. They did nothing at all. I thought what I expected to happen was slowly the Aptasia would start disappearing, and then that would increase over time. But that didn't happen at all. It was kind of nothing, and then bang, all of a sudden everything. So that was cool. I liked that Bergia nudibranchs worked. Although I'm now on to method number 2, which is Australian stripies. Actually, my Australian stripie, for the first time yesterday, I caught him pecking at an Aptasia. He had a little nibble on it and then swam away. So he's going for it. He's thinking about it. That was good enough for me. So there we go. Those are my 3 reefing achievements of the year. Tell me what your achievements are in the year, because I've looked back and I thought, well, I don't think I've achieved anything as such. But I guess stuff in reefing doesn't happen quickly, does it? You can't like achieve an amazing tank just in the space of a year. But tell me what you guys achieved in the chat over the last 12 months, and I'll share some of the best stuff. Next question from Hamish Walsh. Hey Alex, wish you a Merry Christmas. Thanks, happy Christmas to you too. I have a feeling that Ryan isn't doing the streams because he is spending all of his time watching the Ashes. Brackets go Australia. Boo. Is that true? Ryan could not care less about cricket or football or any sports, basically. Certainly not the Ashes, unfortunately. I've been following the Ashes, which is a real shame because it's been an absolute washout for England. Really disappointing. I thought we were going to give it a red hot crack, as you say, this year, but it all went to pot. Showed a bit of fight this test in the second innings, but that's about it. So it's over now, basically. So yeah, no, Ryan is not spending all his time watching the Ashes, but I've been trying to keep up with it on the radio, on internet radio, whatever it's called. I'm guessing you're Australian. Unacceptable. Impatient Reefer. Evening, Alex. What's your favourite chalice? Oh, I said I was going to get some photos up. So instead of getting photos up, let me see if I can get videos up. Have I got a video of these? No, I haven't. That's irritating. Oh, what about on the... No, not on that one either. Okay. So my favourite chalices are watermelon chalice. First one is the watermelon chalice. And let me share my screen so you can see which one I'm talking about. That bad boy. That's Tidal Gardens. That is exactly what mine looks like, basically. To the eye as well. So that's a Tidal Gardens always take good photos, don't they? Prestige Reef has it. It looks much better than that in person. But the watermelon chalice is an absolute beaut. But like purple pink body, yellow mouth, and then like a green growth rim. It looks amazing. It looks really cool, and it also looks particularly good next to a Raja Rampage chalice coral. And Raja Rampage, they're everywhere now. These were what's it called? Watermelon is a little bit more difficult to get hold of, I find. But Raja Rampage you can usually find that and knocking around. It's quite a common one. It grows relatively quickly, so it's easy to frag. It's raining. Oh no, that means I need to shut my window. Hang on a second. I've got a ceiling window, and if I leave that open, then all my lights and my camera gear, my monitors and that stuff will get wet. So yeah, right, they go really well next to Raja Rampage. Watermelon a bit more difficult to get hold of in the UK. Was that Prestige Reef out of stock? I can't remember. Raja Rampage a bit more easy to get hold of. But they're my two favorites. Space Invader Chalice as well looks very similar to Raja Rampage, but without the black eye, the black around the eye mouth. What they call it? Called Space Invader Chalice. Yeah, so just a bit more of a Space Invader Chalice, a bit more of a bland version of a Raja Rampage, but it's still cool. Space Invader Bacteria is really nice as well. So they are probably my two favorites. And the other one that I've got is a Stellaria Chalice, which doesn't look like that. So it looks like, what I found, right, this one on Prestige Reef, that he got that from me, and that's what it looks like when you frag it. For whatever reason, he gets really pissed off. But this is what it looks like normally. Is that? Yeah, that's a good photo. That's what mine looks like, basically. Really cool. It's super. This is the one that we always talk about, me and Ryan, about how aggressive it is. And this was, in fact, I can show you. This attacked one of my other chalices recently. I think it's like a raster. It looks like it should be called a raster chalice. I'm guessing that's what it is. But they looked like they were fighting with each other, and I didn't know which one was attacking which, but I had a good idea. And I've since confirmed that it was the Stellaria Chalice that was doing the attacking. And I can't find the photo. There we go. Here's the photo. His face is a video. Go away. Come back up. Oh, okay. You can't really see it. But there's the filaments going from one coral to the other. And I know it was the Stellaria doing the attacking. You can actually see, to be fair, in that picture. But the coral to the left that is being attacked has now got a white patch on it. They've stopped fighting. But that is now that's now, it's fine, but it's just got a white patch on it. But the Stellaria Chalice is a really nice coral. It looks, if you buy a frag, be prepared for it to look rubbish, because every time I fragged it, and every time the two places I've sold it to are Prestige Reef and Reefkeeper Moss End, and every time they frag it, it just looks rubbish. It looks really bland, but it does grow back and it does color up nicely. So if you buy a frag, it might not look fantastic, but when they grow out, they're really nice, and they glow really nicely under blue lights. Who doesn't like that? So there we go. Those are my favorite. Those are my favorite chalices, basically. Tell me what your guys' favorite chalices are. Share it in the comments. So if there are any that are absolute beauties that I've forgotten, I'll share them on screen as well. Chalice is great, though. The only trouble with chalices is, and this Than talked about this a little while ago, is that you can't. So normally, if you put two hammer coils next to each other, they're fine. But if you put two chalices next to each other, they're not fine, probably, because they're probably, there's a good chance they're actually a different type of coral. And chalice coral is just the word we use probably to describe like a million different types of coral. So it's a little bit difficult to make a garden out of them. But still, if you give them a bit of space, they disc out, don't they? They look really cool. Hang on. It's bothering me too much. In fact, I'm just going to write down. Oh, that's why. That's why I set it to 100%. It's supposed to be like 30. Anyway, share your favorite chalices in the chat. Next one is from Diverse Reefer. He says, "Evening, Alex. SPS Acro." I'm going to need a sip of beer for this. SPS Acro tank almost completed. Bare bottom or sandy bottom? Bare bottom. I'm going bare bottom on the Cade. Not the Cade. What's it called? UNS tank that's going to be in here soon, next year, some point. I want RAS, yeah, and I need flow, but with sand, that does create a sandstorm. Have you heard or used ATI sand? It's supposed to be denser, or should I stay, or so should stay put a little better? So I use ATI sand. ATI sand is my preferred sand. If I'm just setting up a cheap tank, to be fair, I use the stuff you get from Maidenhead Aquatics, whatever it is. But my last two main tanks, the Red Sea Reefer S850 and the Red Sea Reefer Peninsula 500, I used ATI sand. It's called ATI Fiji something or other. Hang on. ATI sand. ATI Fiji sand? Yeah, Fiji white. ATI Fiji white sand. This is the stuff I use. You can get it in 3 different grain sizes, small, medium, and large. I think on my last tank, I used a mixture of medium and large grain. And on my current tank, I just use medium, if I remember rightly. It's quite expensive, to be fair, but it's really good, and I like the size of it. And ATI are a company that you can trust as well. So that is the stuff I would use if you're going to. But I found with I went for a mix of large grain and medium grain on my last tank because that was going to be acro. So I had the same thought as you. Don't want it to be blowing around. It didn't make a difference. You could put unless you're using bricks as sand, it's going to blow around basically. So I always got patches in the corner where it would, because the water blows up, the parrots will blow against the glass that runs down the glass and then creates a bare patch, doesn't it? So yeah, forget it. If if you want acros if you want to keep acros in a tank with a sand bed, you're going to have patches where the sand gets you've got two choices. You're either going to have insufficient flow for your acros or enough flow for your acros and then bare patches of sand. So I think for sure, if I was doing an acro tank, I would absolutely 100% go bare bottom. And even next time, the UNS tank has a white bottom. Cade tanks have a white base as well, so it looks a little bit better. So I'll be doing that on that one. And actually, I've made videos on my water box tank. That was probably the nicest tank I've set up. It looked amazing. I loved it, and that was bare bottom. The corals looked. I mean, it's not just down to that, but the corals look really nice as well. That island is now the middle island. That entire aquascape, I moved over to my current tank, and it's the middle island of my current tank, and the corals don't look as nice as they did in the water box. So yeah, I think I thought about going bare bottom on the Red Sea tank, on the big one, but I just wanted it just looks better, doesn't it? And I wanted wrasses. So you've got to make a choice basically. Some people do that, have a bare bottom and they put a little Tupperware tub of sand and fill that up, and the wrasses sleep in that. I did that when I quarantined my wrasses, and they did sleep in the sandbox. So you can do that, or you can just not have wrasses, or just not have sand sleeping wrasses. But I would be tempted to try to hide a box of sand somewhere. But they end up, they get messy. They move it all over the place, and then you got to fill up the sand, and it's a pain. So I don't know. I don't think there's an ideal answer, to be honest. But I would go bare bottom. And actually, this weekend when I did a water change on my main tank. Normally, I vacuum the sand probably once a month, maybe not even that often in my main tank. And because the lid, the DIY, I've got one of those DIY mesh covers, and it's in two sections. I made it in two sections. And because it's in two sections, I can never be bothered to take them both off. So I normally take the right-hand side cover off, and then I vacuum the sand on that side, which is ridiculous. It's so lazy. But this time I took the other one off as well. I thought, you know what? I need to vacuum the whole sand. So I vacuumed the entire sand bed. The water change bucket was filthy. And I've decided I need to do that a lot more often, because the next day the water looks so clear. It was like I'd put activated carbon in. It looked amazing. And I figure that if there's that much detritus and fish poo in the sand, it's probably not good for my corals. So I'm going to try to vacuum the sand bed. I'm not going to commit to doing it every week because I'll be lazy at some point. But as often as I can do, basically. I think you probably can't do it too much. So yeah, go bare bottom. Basically, you won't regret it, especially with acros, because then you don't ever have if you've got sand, you'll be thinking, oh, I don't really want to turn my power heads up because it keeps blowing the sand around, and then that's to the detriment of your acros. Whereas if you haven't got that to worry about, then you'll just set the flow to whatever level you think is best for your corals. So go bare bottom, and that's what WWC do, I believe. I think they always use bare bottom now. Sip of beer. Next one is from, let me just have a look. Oh no. Next one is from VRX3 Nick, and I said because I thought that was VXR, and it made me think about voxels. Anyone know what a voxel Maloo is? I love them. It's like a 6-litre ute that you can't buy anymore. Anyway, I digress. Hello there, Alex. Please share your recommendations for silent return pumps, wave makers, and skimmer. I'm using the Red Sea DC skimmer and pump, and they are loud block capitals. Any comments on the second generation Red Sea return pump? And then I asked him, what did I ask him? I said, have you got the second gen return pump, and which size is it? And he said, I've got the first gen pump, the smaller version. Okay, At first I thought it needed some breaking in and then it would be quiet, but after a year it still hums. I ask you about noise because I know you also like quiet equipment. I do. I think I'm quite. I figure I'm not like Than describes himself as a noise psycho. I'm not that level, mainly because I can't afford a biz. Otherwise, I would be. But noise does bug me, and I like quiet tanks. And he goes to say, for flow pumps, I've tried MP40s and they didn't convince me. The Red Sea Reef Wave is actually dead silent, but the maintenance is a pain in the ass. Okay, so first off, then the first generation Red Sea return pump was a Seache pump. It was a rebranded Seache pump. They made a couple of changes, but it was a rebranded Seache pump. I had the Seache return pump originally. I bought it ages ago. It was secondhand when I bought it, but it was really noisy. It was like constantly. And I thought the same as you. I thought, well, that'll bed in, no problem. Don't worry about it. But it didn't. It's just the way it is. And what else did I think about that one? I also wondered if it was because it was secondhand, because I bought it secondhand. So I thought, well, maybe it's just worn over time or something. But actually, that's not the case. All Seache return pumps, the SDC, I think they're called, they're just noisy. They don't use the same technology, I believe, as the quiet DC pumps. That's why. So the Red Sea Gen 1 return pump was based on a Seache. They're fantastic if you want reliability and you don't care about noise because they've got a 5-year warranty. But if you do care about noise, like most of us do, I just avoid them, to be honest. The Gen 2 Red Sea return pump, I've made a video on that. I tried to delay the video for as long as possible. I think I had it for about 2 months so I could give a fuller update. And at first, the Gen 2 Red Sea pump was a bit noisy as well. And I was thinking, and I watched all of the marketing videos and when Red Sea were talking to people at trade shows and that, and they were saying it's silent. And I was like, it's not silent. So I did wonder if there was something wrong, but actually that did bed in. And now that is, I don't hear it at all. I wouldn't say it's silent, but it's as quiet as, is it as quiet as any return pump I've had? I think it's in that ballpark. It's really quiet. So it's definitely bedded in. It took, even when I made the video, actually, so however long I'd had it at that point, I think it was 2 months. It was still a tiny bit noisy, perfectly acceptable. And I think it wouldn't bother you, but it's got quieter since then. So 3 months in, it's completely bedded in. And now it's really quiet and it's totally fine. So the Gen 2 Red Sea is really good. And the Red Sea app is also really good. But if you want a quiet return pump, Jekod. Jekod's are really good. So the one I had, the return pump I had before that was a Reef Factory base pump, 10,000 litre per hour. And that was based on, that was like a painted, different colour Jekod DCP 10,000, I think, something like that. And I've had loads of Jekod MDC return pumps as well. They are my preferred versions because some of them, they still come with a control box. You can get them Wi-Fi so they can connect to an app. You don't need it. I wouldn't bother. But the DCP and the MDC are my preferred. I always buy, if I was going to buy a return pump, I would buy, unless I felt like spending a bit of cash, I would buy a Jekod, and I'd buy a Jekod MDC because they are super quiet. Again, they're not silent, but they're as close to it as you're going to get. And they're cheap. They just work. They're really reliable as well. And when I was first in the hobby, I was like, Jekod, I don't know, Chinese, are they not going to be very reliable? But I've been using Jekods for the whole time I've been in the hobby, and they're brilliant. They're as reliable as any other piece of equipment I think I've had. More or less, that's possibly a bit of a bold claim. I've probably had more reliable equipment, but they're brilliant. So Jekod I would go for. What else did you want? You wanted a skimmer. I don't know if the latest generation of return pumps from Red Sea have made it into the latest generation of Red Sea skimmers. I didn't like the Red Sea skimmer anyway. It's massive. And I prefer so I have a Bubble King, a Royal Exclusive Bubble King double cone 180. It's a really good skimmer, but it's ridiculous. It was like £1,000. It was stupid. I said, don't buy that. But before that, I had Deltec 600i. I love the Deltec for the most part. It's just really bad build quality. And the more I think about it, because I'm looking at equipment for the new tank, and I was looking at Deltec because they are super quiet. And you can get spare parts for them as well. So if something breaks, it's not a problem. And my only hesitation with them is they are quite expensive and the build quality is terrible. So like when you if you buy a NIOS skimmer, actually that's the point. The NIOS skimmers now have moved to DC pumps, so they might be quieter, because I used to find them buzzy over time. At first they were fine, but as they got older, they started to hum. So the nice ones might be good, but when you get an IR skimmer, I've had a couple of them. The unboxing experience is amazing. Like, it's got titanium bolts for the base. It's really nice quality acrylic. It looks fantastic. It feels solid. It's heavy. Everything is built really well. You can tell it's been built, designed in Germany and made in Germany. And then you open a Deltec skimmer, and you're like, oh, it's no, it's, I guess it's okay. And it feels really cheap and scratchy plastics. All the acrylic is really thin. I've managed to snap a bit off because it's a bit brittle as well over time. So the build quality of the Deltec is and for the price as well, they're not cheap. For the price, the build quality on Deltex is not good. And if that bothers you, steer clear of Deltex. I wish they'd improve that, because apart from build quality, it's a fantastic skimmer. And actually, if I was buying a skimmer today, the Deltec would be the 600i. There are a few. There's 400, the 600, and the 1000. Obviously, I think that's 400 litre tanks, 600 and 1000 litre tanks. And they would be probably top of my list, or certainly on the final shortlist. I think they're really good. You've just got to, if you like good build quality, buy something else. If you're not bothered by that and you just care about how it works, they work really, really well. And I found I never had to adjust it. It doesn't go crazy if you start putting aminos in or whatever. It's easy to clean. It's a good bit of kit. I really liked it. And your final question was power heads. So MP40s are a bit noisy, but only generally if you turn them up. So I find they're fine up to about 80%, and then they're noisy above that, which is probably the case with most power heads, to be fair. But I didn't ask how big your tank was, did I? Oh, no. Did you say the smaller version of the return pump? I'm guessing, if you've tried MP40s. So Jekods, again, are really good power heads. Which ones are they? Let me look them up. Charterhouse Aquatics. Which ones do I use? SOW, I think it is. There's SOW, which are the standard, the ones that look like a normal power head. And then there's the SLW, which looks like a Nero 5, like the low profile ones. And actually on Charterhouse, there's MOW as well. So SOW series power heads, MOW series power heads, all Jekod, or SLW. They're brilliant and they're cheap. They do have an app. The app is rubbish, actually. But because it doesn't have a feed mode. But if you get one with a control box that does have a feed button, cool, then that's all you need. And the Jekod DMP40s do have a control box and the app, so they're brilliant. So actually, Jekod DMP40 is what I go for. I loved my DMP40s. But any power head you get, you need to run, if you want it to be silent, you can't run it 100%, basically. So you've got to run them I run them about 50%. I find most power heads at 50% or below are very quiet. So I tend to oversize and run them lower. I think that answers your question. There we go. Right. That is all of the member questions. Fine. Okay. In which case, with a bit of luck, we've built up some questions on the live stream. So let's have a look through. Right. Okay. I'll wake up in a second. Yeah. Okay. So let me have a look at this. The reason I'm pausing is because that's a tiny bit small. The writing's a bit small, so I've made it big. Here we go. Right. Okay. So member questions answered. Chat questions done. Any questions you got, by the way, let me know in the chat now, or in the comment section after. I'll answer anything in the comment section after. Probably not as much detail, but ask away, and we will have a chat. And whilst we are waiting, I will have a beer. Good afternoon or early morning to anyone in Australia or part of Asia. Yeah, bloody cricket. God, it's just so disappointing, because I was convinced that we were going to do well this time. Now that Ryan is not here, let's talk about equipment. I was going to do next week. I was going to do just basically all about equipment, but I've changed my mind. But yeah, I know. Any lighting questions? I've just had a solid 10 minutes on return pumps, skimmers, and power heads, haven't I? So you can tell I'm enjoying it. Right. Oi, catching a live stream for the first time. Hello, things and such. Ghostface Alex. Why is my what? Why do I look like I've got a ghost face? Looks all right to me. if I done something weird. Anyway, I'm just going to be scrolling through, so you're going to have to bear with me. Reef Doc, you are fairly quiet. I think I've fixed that now. Hey, Alex. Hope you had a good day. Do you like mashed potatoes? We've done that. Badger. Bodger and Badger. Yeah, remember that? 90s kids TV show for anyone outside of the UK. That can't have travelled to outside of the UK. That was mental, that programme. You're talking about stuff. Roasties over mash. Yeah, what's your favourite kind of potato? I think Hasselback are my favourite potatoes, but they require a lot of effort. So I think just like a nice oiled roast potato is good. Dauphinoise is good, of course. Anything covered in cream is generally good. Enjoy that well-deserved sleep. I certainly will. You're talking to each other. I bought a lid mesh, an AOA 16. Looks so much sleeper. My phosphate, here we go. I think this might be a question. Yeah, my phosphate is 0.56. Going to start granular ferrous oxide, GFO. How would you suggest starting with the BRS reactor? What is the BRS reactor? BRS phosphate reactor. Is that the thing that's like an RDI chamber? Let's share my screen. It's not coming up with it. It's just coming up with a load of phosphate and stuff. I really like the NIOS torque reactor. I think it's that one. Maybe not. Anyway, NIOS torque reactor is, in my opinion, the best phosphate reactor on the market at the moment. A little bit expensive, but they're really good, really easy to adjust, really easy to change the media, and they don't spill dust all over the place because you can adjust the flow really gently. How would you suggest starting? Very slow. I don't know what size your tank is, but it's going to be a pain in the arse, and it's going to involve a lot of effort. But what you want to do is test, add a small amount of GFO, test again for a week, see how you're getting on. If it's gone down a tiny bit, then you're doing the right thing, and then do that again. But going from 0.56 to where you want to get to, which is probably around 0.1, I'm guessing. It's not the end of the world if you do it relatively quickly, but if you want to plan properly, you want to do that over the course of about a month. Better to be safe. You could do it quicker, but far better to go slowly, because depending on what kind of GFO you're using, if you're using Roaphos, that's really aggressive. It's quite effective. So if you use too much of it, it'll strip your GFO out, your phosphate out, which will cause problems in your tank. It can affect your alkalinity as well. So just go slow. If you can do that over the course of a month, you've done the right thing. A couple of weeks won't be the end of the world, but you don't want to go much quicker than that. Just put some GFO in a small black bag and something. That does work, but reactors are so much better for GFO. If you ever use activated carbon, don't bother putting it in a reactor. All I found, the only difference is it is better, in inverted commas, because it acts much quicker. So if you want your tank to look clear in an hour's time, put it in a reactor. But apart from that, if you just put activated carbon in a bag in the sump, it does the exact same job. You just got to wait a day rather than an hour. But GFO is much better in a reactor. Much, much, much more effective. Do you think you need to? Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, and everybody's saying the same thing. Already purchased the 10-inch reactor. Yeah, I think that is the, that's okay. In that case, you adjust it by adjusting the flow through it. So here we go. 75 gallon with a 40 breeder sump, so 100 gallons, 400 liters. Yeah, okay. You just I don't know in terms of grams or whatever, but put like, what's that, half an inch, maybe a little bit more in the bottom of the reactor. Start steady and go from there, but less is more. If you can be bothered, put in quarter of an inch at the bottom of the reactor and test and go slowly, because if you put in too much, it's really tempting to put in a lot. It'll strip out too quick, which won't necessarily cause problems, but you might be asking asking trouble. Are you still using the KM500? That is the Kalkwasser stirrer, right? No, so I've had two Deltec KM500s. One I bought secondhand because they're so expensive, and it was broken. Basically, I paid something like 60 quid for it. And I should have known at that price. I was asking for trouble. I ended up giving it away, I think, or selling it for a tenner or something. And then I bought a brand new one, and the outlet nozzle kept clogging, which was what annoyed me most. So I now have a Wave Reef Calquasa stirrer. I've done an unboxing video of that on the Reef Talk Extra channel, and I mentioned it in my most recent video on the main channel on Friday. But it's really good so far. So far, so good. So no, I'm not using the Deltec one anymore. I'm using a Wave Reef. Oh, I can't remember what size it is. Medium, large. I think they do a small, medium, large, and extra large. They've 4 sizes, I think. And mine isn't the biggest, but it's definitely not the smallest either. But I like it so far. It's 230 quid. The only thing that you might not like about it is that you can't put it in your sump because it's got a motor it's not water sealed, whereas the Deltec one, it has the motor at the top, so you can put it in your sump. So if you haven't got space in your cabinet and you have got space in your sump, get the Deltec. Other way around, get the Wave Reef. And there are others as well. There's one coming out at the moment called a Calculator. Kalkalator. Calculator. Marine Spectra is the brand. It's just coming out now, so people are only just starting to get hold of them. So there's not much info on them, but they include a dosing pump. I believe they also include a dosing pump. I think they do, and they also include it's not pH probe. What it is, a conductivity probe, so you can tell when your Calquasa is expired, basically. So have a look at them as well. But the one I use is Wave Reef, and it's really good. I mean, it's a Calquasa stir at the end of the day, so it's just a tube with a stir bar. So it's a basic piece of equipment, but it's good. I decided in the end I didn't want one with a conductivity probe or a pH probe, because it's another thing to replace once a year. And how much is a pH probe? 70, 80 quid for a half decent one. And it's another thing to calibrate. And then if you don't calibrate it, which if you're honest with yourself and if you're anything like me, you won't do, then it drifts. And if it drifts, it's useless because it's just giving you false information. So, if a pH probe or a conductivity probe in Calquasa is going to need more maintenance than it would do if it was not in Calquasa, because Calquasa is spicy AF. Keep the rabbitfish. He's a nice looking fish. He's a really cool fish. He's this is the best looking 2-barred rabbitfish, in my opinion, is the best looking rabbitfish. 2-barred. Oh, is that? I also like the orange spot. It's a stunning fish. It looks so cool. And even now, a lot of fish, when they get old and big, they look rubbish, don't they? But he looks almost better now than he ever has done. Really awesome colours. But he gets to go, I'm afraid. I think I value corals more. So yeah, it's a shame. He's a wicked fish. And he's not even like demolishing them. So, you know. Alex, why are you selling the masked angels? So you may have already said. No, so if you want a Japanese masked swallowtail angels, Genacanthus semifasciatus, very rare fish. There's one for sale on Ultimate Reef from a bull guy with 2 thumbs. I'm selling it because it's not so that I've wanted that fish for a long time. But it doesn't look the same as the one that I want. Basically, it's much darker, and the one I wanted had more yellow and more white in it. And I said the one I wanted. When I've seen them in the past, that's what they look like. So I don't know if this was caught from a different area or if it's different feeding or whatever. But it was one of those don't meet your heroes type fish. I think if it was the perfect one, I'd still have it. But it was never quite the right one for me. So there we go. It's only 2 corals. If you get a new one, might. Oh yeah, I know. But the trouble is, he's also nibbling at. So I've got a gunny that's completely receded. That I thought originally it started receding when I had some water chemistry issues, and I thought that was it. But now it's been so long and it's still alive and it's still receded that it makes me think it's being nibbled at something. And my water chemistry is more or less all right now. Still, there's calcium's a bit high at the moment, annoying me, but everything else is good. And he's started scraping at it. There's bits of algae on some of the skeleton. It's still alive, but it's got skeleton that's growing a bit of algae. So he might just be scraping at the algae. But I want to see if I catch him, if that coral suddenly comes out again. Because if it does, that's an absolute win. Because it's a beautiful coral, and I've had it like 5 years, so it'd be a real shame if I do lose it. I could hear a weird noise. Is there no way to use the reactor and bring phosphate down slowly? Yeah, use a small amount of GFO. But that's it. It won't. That's it. I like the flow of that scape. Yes, a wicked. It's such a cool scape. That was the one on Instagram I showed you. Alex, I'm looking at a 300. I can have a sip of cerveza. Oh. I'm looking at a 300 litre tank, excellent size. What would you recommend? I've been looking at the Red Sea tanks G3, but I see people having leaks from Red Sea. Yeah. So 300 litre. What? Oh, I can't really ask you this. In terms, you don't really want to look at size in terms of volume. Tell me what size you want. Dimensions are the most important thing when you're looking for a tank. So get a tank that suits you, the dimensions size-wise. If you're in the UK, the options are Red Sea, DD, Cade, UNS. UNS are really nice, but they're expensive. What else is there in the UK? There's probably a few others I'm missing. I think if you're looking at the Red Sea Reefer 300, which is the 250 XL, I think, then is that a 3-foot tank? It's a 3-foot tank. So the DD tanks are really nice as well. There's a 3-foot Cade. Cades are really expensive too, though. That's a problem, but they are very nice. I do like the Red Sea 300 XL, to be honest. I think it's a really nice size. Will it have leaks? Almost all of the ones you see are Gen 1 Red Sea tanks with leaks. And it's really hard to work out because Red Sea must sell more than probably a lot more tanks than anyone else. So is it because there's a problem with them, or is it just because they sell loads more? I don't think it's just because they sell loads more. But I don't really know. I have seen other tanks. I've seen a waterbox tank split. I've seen custom tank split. What else? I think that might be it. I think there probably is an issue. Most of them are with the Gen 1s, but that's because the Gen 1s are the oldest ones. I've seen still quite a few with the Gen 2 tanks as well. So if you're worried about that, don't buy Red Sea because you'll be stressing about it. But there are plenty of people who do and who still have success with them and don't have leaks. But yeah, I understand why you're concerned. But if you are concerned, then look at the other options. I think the DD Reef Pro. I'm trying to remember. Reef Pro 900 is what it's called. Is potentially what I'd go for. It's a lot more. The Red Sea sump is much better. They think about the set out, the layout, and all that sort of stuff more. It's a more modern design, whereas the DD one is just a sump. But hey, guess what? Your corals don't care what shape the sections of your sump are. So, and they look really smart as well. I think I love these are low tanks as well. Dimensions matter massively because it's the space that you've got in your house, but also it depends what you want. So the DD range are, I think they're 45 or 50 centimeters tall, which is wicked. It means you've got less space for aquascaping and fish. So if you don't want that, then don't get these. But you can see top down really easily, and I think they look really nice as well. That size. But go on Charthouse and look at the tanks because there are quite a few options these days actually. Charterhouse Aquatics, Neptunian Cube as well. Actually, you don't see many of them. I saw a couple of them at Aqua H, and they look nice, to be fair. What else have we got? Yeah, Nios. I don't really like the nice ones. They're really thick cabinets. They just don't really do anything for me. But some people love them, so have a look at the nice ones as well. And I think those are your main options. Waterbox if you're in the States. I'm pretty sure you can't get Waterbox over here anymore, which is a real shame because Waterbox are nice. But there we go. Those are my thoughts. Thought you was back at uni to ask Quimbo. I'm guessing you're not talking to me. In my opinion, you don't need a reactor for GFO. And blah, 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 blah. I use API as well, to be fair, for tests. All good. I have a reactor. Reactor chat with GFO. I recently switched to ATI ICP MS. Yeah, okay. I don't think I've done the MS. How did you get on with it? Do you quarantine fish or acclimate? Heat and yeet, as So Reef says. No, I don't quarantine new fish. I hate quarantine. I just don't. It's just not for me. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. I just don't like it. So I use an absolute boatload of UV. So this is. I went away from what worked for me, and which was my mistake, and I've gone back to what worked for me in the past again. So I think that's part of one of the main reasons I had a white spot outbreak was because I stopped doing all the things that I used to do to avoid white spot outbreaks. So I have 2 Deltec 48 or 55 watt UV sterilizers, something like that. 2 massive UV sterilizers, basically. And the Deltec ones are particularly good. 48 watt. The Deltec ones are particularly good. And I'm going to do a shameless plug here, because you can put them in your sump this ways. So that you need to buy a bracket, and guess who sells the bracket? Yours truly, reefdog.se.com. But you can put them in the sump. They submerge. The top inch or two, whatever, you can't submerge that. That's not waterproof. But the rest of it is waterproof. So you can have them upright in your sump if you buy that little clip and clip them onto the back of your sump. And the reason that that's brilliant is because then they don't take up space. Every UV sterilizer I've ever had, and because UV sterilizers, the bigger the watts, the longer they are, no one's ever got any space for like a long UV sterilizer, because who's got the cabinet space for that to mount it on? But these, you can put them upright, so they take up next to no space, because you've got loads of vertical space in your sumps, and they're fantastic. They're relatively expensive. I think they're about 300 quid. But the bulbs aren't mega expensive to change. They're the best UV sterilizers that I've ever bought. They're fantastic. So I now have 2 of those, which is probably potentially overkill on my tank, but I run them 24/7. I need to change the bulb on one of them. Actually, it's over a year old. And I'm much more careful with selecting fish. I feed them more than I have done in the past. I don't get aggressive fish. I'm borderline too many fish at the moment in my tank. But that's another thing. You don't want to overcrowd your tank and have fish that are competing for spaces to sleep and to chill out and all that sort of stuff. So, but that is my method of adding fish. Do you quarantine fish? It's for sure worth asking, but what's the best way in your opinion? What's the best way in your opinion between an Ecotech Versa and DD STP doser for calc? One's half the price and the other just seeing where the extra £100 is. Yeah, so I've had both. I binned off the DD STP because I didn't like it. The app is it's a Kamoa pump, and there's nothing wrong with Kamoa. They make really good quality stuff. But their app is, I think I'm right in saying that it's the Kamoa app and it's just being tweaked effectively by DD, like made it a bit better, and it is better, but it's just really basic, and I didn't get on with it. I had a couple of issues with it. It just crashed and then wiped all my schedule once, and I only found out a few days later when it stopped dosing. It's like, right. And also I think I could only work out how to do it, so you had to say how many milliliters per minute you want to dose. And what I want to do is say, well, I want to dose 5 liters a day or 2 liters a day. I don't want to tell you how many. I don't want to have to work out the maths of that, which is that's a minor complaint. But yeah, the Ecotech Versa is really expensive, but it's a really good bit of kit. To be fair, you can swap out the bit that you need to replace really easily. I think it's 18 quid. I bought one this week. And that is important for Calquasa because it does burn through the inner tubing. So it takes John Guest tubes as well, which is more hard wearing, so won't burn out with Calquasa as readily as silicon tube will. The app is really good. It's Bluetooth. So you can't access it from abroad, if that matters to you, whereas I think you can with the DD. I think that's right. I think that's Wi-Fi, although I've forgotten now. But it's much better. Go for the Versa if you can afford it. The DD STP is fine. It's very basic and it's half the price at the end of the day. But the Versa is really good. So there you go. And there are others. You can get that massive, the enormous Kamoa one, but that's a bit noisy and it's bloody massive as well. Do you think Ryan would let you do a video in the coral farm or his tank? His tank is not worth filming, no offense, Ryan, at the present moment, because there's one coral in it, and that's just because he couldn't be bothered to take that one out. So the tank isn't worth filming, but it will be in time. But I've been asking him to do it, Ryan. If you're watching, this is me asking you again. I've been asking him to do a video on the coral farm for ages because we could do it as a tank tour. So the tank is his farm, basically. So tell me how you run it. I think it'd be really interesting. But it's always like, oh no, it's too messy, and oh no, not this week. And there's always a reason. There's always an excuse. So Ryan, mate, I'm coming for you. I'm going to wear. This is the thing. I just need to wear him down. That's how I got him onto the live stream in the first place. Keep pestering him. Ryan, come on the live stream. Ryan, come on the live stream. So if I ask him enough times, then that'll happen. But that would be cool. And Ryan's, his farm is wicked. It's yeah, his corals are all awesome. He knows his stuff. It's very simple methods, easy for anybody to follow. So it'll be a really good video when it happens. When I'm coming for you. But oh yes, achievements, beating dinos. Well done. Took a while. Yes, guys, a pain in the ass getting rid of dinos. With careful dosing of silicates. Yeah. What's it called? Something water, isn't it? Water glass, I think it's called. 5 species of plankton, copepods, and manual removal. Well done for sticking with it. Good evening, future live stream guest, East Coast Reefer. In the last 12 months, I rescued the tank from my teenage daughter's bedroom. It did not leak. Oh no, it did not look good to now having a beautiful mixed reef. Well done. I can genuinely feel proud of. Cool. I failed with filefish and peppermint shrimp, but I put 9 Bergia nudies in my 250 litres and have seen a few, so they are still alive, but haven't really noticed any aptasia going. Yeah, give it 6 months. I did actually, I eventually noticed, if you go down with a red torch at night, sometimes you can, well, if they're around and when they get bigger, you can see them, especially they like hide under, one kept hiding under the bloody algae scraper, so every time I scraped the algae it would go into the water column, and no one ate it, but I was convinced it was going to get eaten. But they hide in places like that, so if you've got little rocks that you can turn over, they're often hiding under there. They're cool. Potential future live stream guest Harry, I don't know if you heard, but I'm going to message you afterwards and invite you on the live stream next week. If you're free and if you're up for it. Everybody is saying hello to each other. I feel your pain. You're saying hello to each other. My achievement for the year, this was Pussycat, is keeping all my fish alive and killing all my corals. Yes, basically standard reefing, isn't it? Hamish Walsh. Hey Alex, do you agree that if a coral name sounds like it would taste good as a lolly or candy, it normally looks really nice? Give me some examples. Watermelon chalice. Yes. Raja Rampage chalice. I would not eat a Raja Rampage lolly, I don't think. But yeah, give me some more examples. Hit me, and I'll have forgotten by the time you get there. Cloudberry. I don't know what that is, but I would eat it. But that's a good shout, actually. I joined a Dino's Facebook group. Yeah, Mac Dino Flagellate's Facebook group, and got a microscope. They helped me beat it. It was great feeding. That's the way to do it. The day they disappeared. Yeah, join that group and get a microscope. Otherwise, you're pissing in the wind. Procentrum. Is there one coral that always makes its way into your main display tank? Yeah, so Seriatopora caliendrum, which is like a needless scientific name, but it's important because if you just say green bird's nest, you'll get the wrong coral. But if you say, yeah, there it is. Now, hang on a second. If you say Seriatopora caliendrum or Aussie hystrix, also known as, is this one, then it's wicked. It's so nice. I love that. Have we got any other photos of it? No. It's a wicked coral. It's so much not normal bird's nest. The growth pattern's a bit funny. This is really uniform. The polyps are all like really, they like line up in a row. This is the Aussie hystrix, Seriatopora caliendrum, is a really nice coral. And that always ends up in my tanks. I didn't want SPS in this tank, my current tank, which is an LPS tank. In fact, here it is. Here's a better photo. It's a thumbnail, but still. And I ended up with this because I was like, I just love it. It's a really nice coral. It's really easy to keep for an SPS. Grows like crazy. Yeah, it's wicked. What's not to like? Yeah, that one. Any others? Gonnies. Bloody hate gonnies. But I also love them. Reef Doc, how are we getting on with the wavered calc, the wave reef calc? Good. In short, yeah, I don't really have much to say about it. It just works, so it's fine. Yeah. Anything to report? I'm currently trying to throw away to clean it every 2 weeks, so it's really easy to maintain because all you need to do is undo 2 thumb screws on the base or 2 screws anywhere on the base, and then you can lift the whole disconnect the chamber from your dosing pump. Then you can lift the chamber out and pour it away. So what I'm trying to do is do that every 2 weeks, which we both know isn't going to happen long term, but do that every 2 weeks so it doesn't ever, there's no danger of it ever clogging up. And I'm always keeping the calc fresh that way. So we'll see, but so far so good. Really good bit of kit. So there we go. And it's cheap. Well, relatively cheap compared to the Deltec. Spiritual, Reefing Mermaid says, my achievements this year is finally upgrading to a 350 litre system. Yes. Acquiring my dream fish, a multi-bar angel. Oh, is it eating a new corals yet? Hasn't shown the tiniest interest in coral yet. Yeah. Cool fish, really cool fish. I had one, but it died in quarantine, and I was like a year into the hobby, and I wasn't very good at quarantine, and it was a difficult fish to keep, and that was a long time ago. So there weren't captive bred ones around, or if they were, I didn't know about them. I can't remember, but I tried silicates. You're talking to each other. Reborn Media is another high flow alternative instead of bare bottom. Yeah, I don't know if you can get that in the UK. But I just go bare bottom if you ask me, because that I don't know. How does Reborn Media do with wrasses? I'm guessing it's too coarse for them because it's like gravel, isn't it? And they like fine sand, ideally. Sorry, I have to ask. Fish bottom, human top. No, stop asking that. But tell us, Reefing Mermaid, which is it? Which way around is it? Obviously, fish head with legs. Depends if bare bottom. Alexa. You call me Alexa. Can you talk about the Red Sea G3 tanks? Are they better than the G1, G2? So I think the main change with the G3 over the G2, I think is an incremental upgrade. The G1 to the G2 was a big upgrade. They upgraded the sump, I think, and a few other things. The G3 smaller upgrade. They made the plumbing more efficient on some of the tanks from like 4 foot above. I can't remember which ones, but some of them they've added Euro bracing, and that's a massive upgrade. But I don't think there are any other major changes. They just made the plumbing more efficient, which I don't really care about, to be honest. Oh no, they added a gate valve. Finally. I'm pretty sure they added a gate valve instead of the diaphragm valve. Personally, I get on fine with the Gen 2 gate valve, the current one. Not gate valve, diaphragm valve. The Gen 1 diaphragm valve was awful. I hated it. But the current one is good. But a gate valve is better. So that's good. Is there a coral you like, but know it'll end up dead? Torches, Goddies. Love hammers, but nearly everyone I buy ends up being bothered to death by cleanup crew. Surely that's because there's water chemistry issues and they're dying and then being troubled by cleanup crew, because hammers should be quite hardy. If you're buying wild hammers, they are more likely to be fussy, but even then they should be right. But anyway, yeah, gunnies and torches, I hate them and I love them. I bought an Aquarius yesterday and we'll set up tomorrow. What is your first and honest opinion about the Aquarius? Short answer is enough, until the video comes out. So it's still a little bit, really what you want to know is long term. How does it work how does it maintain accuracy long term? And I don't know that. It seems fine at the moment. I've checked the alkalinity 4 times with my Hannah checker. 3 times the difference was 0.2. 1 time it was 0.6. 0.6 is higher than I would like. Still not terrible, but an average across those 4 is 0.3, I think. And that's fine, totally acceptable. I think the Hannah checkers are probably plus or minus 0.1, 0.2 anyway. So accuracy wise, so far it's fine. Although I have done, you're supposed to do a test and then with your Hannah checker, then put the result into your Aquawiz. And then it's like, right, I now know that is 7.7. So I'll bear that in mind next time. And I still found, even after I did that, the next test was 0.2 out, which was weird. I thought it would be the same. But so far it seems pretty stable. So I think it's all right. It's a little bit noisy, but it's fine. Actually, now I've put mine in a little cupboard, it's okay, and it doesn't even bother me. Apart from that, it's good. I love the testing method. I'm reluctant to say it's better than any other testing method. because I can't really say that after 2 months, but it is. It is better than the pH probe method. You don't have to worry about, so I used to return with the old ones, the pH probe ones with reagent. I used to return the reagent to my sump. I wasn't bothered about that, but some people didn't. And if you didn't, that means you need to have a waste container and you need to empty that waste container regularly, which is a pain in the ass. You definitely don't need to do that with this because it just takes a water sample in, doesn't add any reagent, and it puts the water back in your tank. So you don't need to have a separate container. You don't need to buy reagent all the time, which is actually a relatively decent saving over time. There is still maintenance. There are a few videos about the maintenance you need to do. So there is maintenance, but you don't have a reagent thing to maintain. What else do I like about it? It's relatively small, to be fair. It's cheapish. It's 700 quid. At the moment it's 600 quid. 700 quid for me is a tiny bit toppish. 600 quid is good. So if it stays at 600, that's a good price. But so far, so good. I really like it. I'm tempted to say it's brilliant. But it's funny because it's a weird looking piece of kit. And if you look at it, if I showed you it and I said, this is amazing, you'd be like, no, it looks rubbish. But it's like the Deltec skimmers, I guess. They're absolutely brilliant. They're not great build quality, but that doesn't really matter because all that matters is how they perform. So far, I really like it. But let me do the full explanation in the video. But that is my honest early reaction. But early, even when I do the video, take it with a pinch of salt because it's 2 months, and I'll see how it comes on in a year's time. Although the people I've spoken to who have bought it with their own money say that it's still good 6 months in. So I'm expecting it to do well, but who knows? The software's not very good, but it's fine. It's just not as polished as like Mobius or whatever. Gyre or direct power heads? I don't like gyres personally because they clog really quickly. I bought a Red Sea gyre, and Red Sea make they're all the same. The max spec gyres, all that, they're basically all the same, so it doesn't really matter which one you buy. But it clogged up with algae to the point really quickly. So you got to clean it really often. And it got to the point where when I went to clean it, I turned off all my flow except for the gyre. And this was right at the top of my tank, obviously, because it's gyre. And I was looking at the water and I was like, have I turned that off? And it was on, but performance drops off a cliff if you don't clean it. I am lazy. I can't be bothered to clean my power heads. So it gets dirty and it drops off a cliff. So gyres are not for me. But if you can be bothered to clean them regularly, brilliant. I just can't. And the Red Sea Reef mat is also crazy loud. It is loud, but that doesn't bother me because it just goes for like a few seconds. But it should be quieter. You're right. But it doesn't bother me. And you can set it so it has a quiet time. So it advances enough. Like if you want it to be quiet overnight, it will advance before then enough so it doesn't need to advance again overnight. I've never tried that because I can't hear it upstairs. But yeah, it is noisy. It would be better if the motor was quieter, to be fair. Tinnitus, any noise is welcome. Yeah, a lot of people suggest a fan. John Major, don't hear any equipment. Yeah. Benefit of getting old. Don't know if you get Simplicity over there, but they are very quiet and great value. Simplicity skimmers. I don't think we do. I don't recognize the name. JJS. Looking to add a UV before getting a Tang Hick magnet. Do you prefer inline or separate? Inline or separate? What's inline? Inline as in line with like with a what's inline? Inline ones I've seen before, like I don't know, in with a what's the filters you get with freshwater tanks? Those ones. Looking at the Deltec is honestly is brilliant. I love it. So the other one I've had before a few times, probably 3 or 4, is the Eheim one, and lengthwise the Eheim is way longer than the Deltec for what, so you get much more bang for space with the Deltec, and the Eheim cannot be submerged. You can't put it in water at all, and that makes mounting it really awkward, and the tubes are at a funny angle, so you've then got to bend the tubes over the place. That I hate the Eheim one. But the Deltic one is absolutely brilliant, and the plumbing is you can angle it whatever angle you want. It's really, really good, honestly. Even if you're not mounting it in your sump and you want to mount it on your cabinet, they're still brilliant. I love them. They're the best. And they've got little like fluorescent outlet nozzles. So if the cabinet is dark, they glow, which tells you that your UV bulb is still working. So if the bulb dies, you'll be able to tell because you'll see that they won't be glowing. And also the power supply beeps when the bulb dies. Looking at the Deltic, trying to decide if I want to plumb it or just add an extra pump. Oh, I see what you mean. In line with the return pump. I'm with you. Sorry, I should have read the whole thing, shouldn't I? Let's have a sip of beer. I think we've got bad news, by the way. I think this is my only beer tonight. And definitely don't put it in line because you want it really low. You should always put all equipment ideally on its own pump because everything that you're running on it, GFO, activated carbon, UV, the tank, all want different flow rates. So it's much better if you can to plumb everything separately. And absolutely you don't want a UV in line with a return pump because you want to run much faster than the flow rate that you want to run through a UV. And flow rate through a UV is really important. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time. You need to get it the right flow rate. So absolutely do it on its own pump, even though that means you need to buy another pump and you need to use another plug socket. I have a Jecod 2000 litre per hour DCP 2000, I think it is, which is nice and small. It's quiet, it's reliable, etc., etc., etc. It's adjustable. K5 recommendation. Bubble makers. Never had. Oh no, I have. I think that was the first ever skimmer I had, and it was a bit noisy and a bit rubbish. But I wonder if they're better now because that was a while ago. Waiting to set up a new tank with max spec duo skimmer. Yeah, if that wasn't so big, that would be right up there on my list as well. It's just they're massive, but they look really good to be fair. My Aaron's Aquarium had one of them ages ago, and I remember watching his video on that, thinking that looks wicked. But they're just too big. And well, to be fair, my Bubble King is quite big, but I just wanted a Bubble King because I'm a tart, basically. That's the only reason to buy a Bubble King. They are really good skimmers, but it's basically, are you a tart? Yes. There you go then, buy it. Otherwise, everything else is just as good. The skimmers are expensive though. Even the max spec, I'm sure it's like 600 quid or something. DMP40, yeah, the DMPs are great. They're brilliant. If I was buying with my own money and setting up a new tank today, if I set up a new tank today, I'd use my MP40s because I've got them. But if I lost them, if they got stolen, and I was buying with my own money, I would have DMPs. They're brilliant, and I love you. It's so easy to make a standing wave. So easy. They're great. Really, really good. Very impressive and cheap. I think the Naya skimmer is still AC. Really? No. It's adjustable, isn't it? No. Come on. Come on, Nios. Don't do that to me. Nios Quantum. To be fair, when you first get it, it was dead quiet. It was only over time that I found it was noisier. And feel free to contradict me if you've always found yours to be quiet. The Nios EQ, engineered in Germany. Whether you choose blah, blah, blah. So I also looked at this the other day for my new tank, but they don't do it in the small one. Powerful 24 volt pump, controllable pump. It must be DC, surely. Because the only way you can control an AC pump, I believe, is you throttle it. So you close a valve, basically. Surely that's DC. DC is not as reliable, to be fair, but it's reliable enough for me. It doesn't say. Okay, I'll take your word for it. But that surprises me, and I don't believe you. I think that's wrong. Surely it's DC. It's got to be DC. But you might be right. I've not looked into it. Preferred testing kits. I've got a video written to do on best test kits. How far behind am I, by the way? Quite a far way behind. But the short answer is for test kits. For nitrate, phosphate, and alkalinity, I use Hannah. For calcium and magnesium, I use Salifert. Hannah do a calcium test kit and they do a Salifert test kit. I've never had the magnesium one, but I have had the calcium one. I hate it. It needs the water sample size from your display tank. It needs is like 0.2 milliliters or something. So it's just really easy to get that size wrong even though it comes with a like a precision syringe thing. But I tested calcium twice in a row. The first result was 430, which is probably right, and the second one was like 200. And I was like, you know what, this isn't for me. And the magnesium one as well. Salifert test kits for magnesium and calcium are brilliant, and I wouldn't, even if I obviously I could buy the Hannah ones, but the Salifert ones are better. So for me, if you can afford the Hannah test kits for nitrate and phosphate and alkalinity, get those. The alkalinity one is better because it's easier, because it's I guess it's easier, but the Salifert is fine as well. But it gives you an exact number as well. Probably doesn't really matter, but it is good for that. But Salifert for alkalinity is totally fine as well. Nitrate and phosphate I really like because it gives you a number, and the Salifert test kits give you a color gradient, and you've got to guess what it is. That doesn't mean it'll be like 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. And there's times I've been looking at it going, is that 1 to 10 or is it 10 to 15? And you can't quite work out, which probably doesn't really matter, because you don't need, it doesn't matter if your nitrate is 1.7 or 1.8. It matters if it's 10 or 100. But still, I prefer to have a number. And with phosphate, definitely way better to use the Hannah one. They are expensive, but they're brilliant. So those are my preferred test kits. And for salinity, I switch between the Hannah digital refractometer, which is buku bucks, and the Tropic Marine bobbing hydrometer, also known as a densimeter, which is cheap. But the Red Sea, what's it called? Optical refractometer is also very good. I think I've got 2 of them. Or it might be the DD one I've got. I think it's the DD one. Alex, do you have, I think I've got 2 of them for some reason. Don't know why. Do you have any experience of, well, I do know actually, polycarbonate lids? Yes, I do. Top lids, no. Or UK vendors? Yeah, so I've had top lids. I've bought top lids. I bought polycarbonate lids from Reef Tops on Facebook, I think they're called, and London Aquatic Design. Considering one for the G3 reefer, it's for the evap covers. Oh, right, I see. I've never used evaporation covers. I don't, for your tank. I always, it's just going to get drips on it. I don't like that. But the mesh covers are brilliant. I love them. But polycarbonate lids, no, I've no experience. I don't want, excuse me, I don't want to restrict my evaporation anyway. And it'll harm gas exchange, supposedly. I've never tested that to see what difference it makes. But that in theory could reduce your pH. I don't know. But no, I don't like that personally. So no, I have no experience. Have a look at Australian brand Sea Torch. RE quality, yeah, what's his Sydney Reefer's got a Sea Torch one, I think. RE quality, but half the price. Parker's Reef did a review a month or so back. Yeah, I think yeah, they look like Royal Exclusive as well. But there you go. Any thoughts on ATI Strattons? Where's East Coast? I'm currently saving up for a Flex. I don't like them personally because they don't do shimmer. But they will have their ATI, so they'll be really good quality. Their spectrum will be mint. The app will probably be a little bit fiddly. They look really nice above your tank. So yeah, if all you care about is spectrum, they're probably very, very good. I've never tested them, but I would think it's probably fair to assume that, because they basically, ATI used to do the T5, didn't they? They were the power module and the sun power were the main T5 units, certainly in the UK anyway, and they were ATI, and ATI were brilliant at that. So I think it's fair to say that ATI will do a very good job with spectrum. It's just, for me, they just give a really flat look. They don't give you any shimmer, and I probably say talk about shimmer more than I talk about anything else. So they're not for me. But they will be, in terms of goodness for your corals, I'm sure they're excellent. Come and talk about Red Sea tanks. I have done. I have done. I'm not going to hold back either. It's I'm not sponsored. I'm not paid not to say anything. I'm happy to be paid, but no. If you had to swap your Red Sea lights for Radions or AI lights for an SPS tank, what would you go for? Kessels. I've started adding more SPS to my tank and find they don't grow SPS as well as LPS. Hang on, I've started adding more SPS to my tank. Yeah, I mean, that's probably not because of the light. They're perfectly capable of growing SPS. I've got acros going in my tank that has very suboptimal lighting flow and nutrients for acros. I personally really like the Red Sea lights. They were free, so feel free to ignore what I'm saying about them, but I love them. I think they're wicked. I flank them with AI blades because I think the blades give a nice blue fluorescence in the evening. I've talked about Kessels before. Kessels are also wicked. I just don't like the app. When I swap, I wouldn't swap for. I would keep them personally. And if you're not getting enough par, I would just add another one, and it'd be much cheaper for you to add one more than sell them and buy a load of Radions. But ultimately, Radions grow corals as well. AIs grow corals. So my view on lights is that it doesn't really matter what brand you get, as long as it's a brand that is aimed at spectrum, that has got the spectrum roughly right for reef tank. It doesn't really matter, and it won't be the limiting factor. I wouldn't be surprised if you ran a test and you did like something like the ATI Straton versus the Red Sea light over 10 years, you get 5% more growth or something, or maybe it would be even more than that. I don't know. But personally, I've changed lights a lot, as you may well know, and I've never found one light that has just been like, boom, oh wow, that's the one for me. They've all been roughly the same. That's not a scientific experiment, so you can ignore that probably, but I wouldn't bother changing personally. If you're not getting enough par, I would either add AI blades either side, which I would do anyway, or just add an extra light. Alex, basic light settings to keep corals alive. I mean, depends what your what light you've got, but just use one of the templates and turn it down nice low percentage. I just dial it into the way I think they look nice, the way it looks nice to my eye, but that's affected by the ambient light in your room and all that sort of thing. But I've made a couple of videos on the AI blade, my settings for the AI blade, the Red Sea lights, my settings for that, and the AI Prime HD, I think. So you can go and look at those, and probably the Evergrows as well at some point, and you can look at roughly what percentage of blue I use, roughly what percentage of white. But if you're to keep corals alive, if you're messing around with your lights and that's what's killing the corals, you're going to have to be doing something really funky. The only thing, as in like 100% red and 0% everything else or whatever, the only thing that will kill corals with lights is too much light. So just as long as you don't have too high intensity, you're fine. There are better spectrums and all that sort of stuff, but I wouldn't worry too much about it, to be honest. Appreciate your thoughts, Alex. Bought it from a friend. Awesome, thank you. Hi, Alex. Oh, you're about to ask me about something I don't know about. What do you think about the Aquamedic Mini UV RO? Aquamedic. Medic Mini UV RO. Oh, that thing. Yeah, I'm guessing that's low wattage. It depends what you want it for, but if you it's a UV clarifier, which I think is different to a sterilizer because it's not as strong. Is that right? I might be making that up. It doesn't even say what wattage it is. That's weird. If you're using that for white spot, nah. If it's a UV clarifier, I think that's just for algae, isn't it? I don't know, to be honest. Reduces germs and bacteria. If you want it for white spot, then get the Deltec. If it doesn't even say how many watts that is, that makes me think it's very low watts. And if it's small, it'll be low watts. So a big fat no from me, but I guess it depends on the use case. Would you trust a blue throat trigger with clams? I don't know enough about blue throat triggers, but it feels like something that would eat a clam. But I don't know. I think the blue throats are the more reef safe ones, but ask Google. But no, I can't share anything useful, I'm afraid. I love Aquamedic RO UV, and it has eliminated the bacteria in my RO reservoir. How did you know there was bacteria in your RO reservoir? Was there like a slime or something? Okay, for that sort of purpose, I can see it being useful. But for killing parasites, doesn't seem like it'd be useful. I don't think that's what it's supposed to be for. How are the azure damsels going? Not being aggressive to other fish. They're generally really fine. They are sometimes a little bit like they'll peck at another fish. So my leopard wrasse and my yellow wrasse sometimes get a bit of catch strays off them, but they're fine. They're absolutely fine. They're low level. They don't cause anyone any problem. They might have a quick pop at like, they'll have a little nibble at a fish as it goes past, but then that's it. And then the wrasse tends to like swim back and go be like, "Oi, what's up?" And then they're cool again. So yeah, really good, nice and low level aggression. Alex, any fish you are planning to add in the new year across all your tanks? Yeah, pintail wrasse. I'm moving on 2 fish, which means I've got space. Pintail wrasse, which is also known as my isosceles wrasse. I should show you what that is, shouldn't I? Isosceles, not triangle. Isosceles wrasse. It's like pink. That is a pintail wrasse. So I want to get one of those. I might get one as soon as I catch my what's it called, rabbitfish. Apart from that, I want some scooters, like scooter blennies, those sorts of things. But that's for the main tank. I haven't really thought. Yeah, no, I have thought about what tank I want for the what fish I want for the new tank, but I can't tell you at the moment. Alex, how much money does your YouTube channel make? Shall I just come out and say the amount? Yes, I do. So I'll put some caveats in first off, because this is the channel's been running for a long time, and YouTube pays you money. You do need to keep feeding it content to keep it interested, but the most money you'll earn is on you make a few videos that do really well, and if you've got that, they will pay you the most money. If you haven't got that, then you won't get so much money. And I don't know how many videos I've got that pay me reasonably well, but probably 10 or 20, maybe even a bit more than that. And I've also got 3 channels. So I've got this one, Reef Talk Extra, and a motorbike channel called Average Biker. So it's I don't know what the split is, but they basically, between the 3 of them, they make about £1,000 a month, and that's been the case for quite a while now. The downside is I've got an extremely unhealthy habit of spending all of my money on cameras and microphones. This one, case in point, and all sorts of other things. So in terms of profit, it makes £0 because I spend literally every penny I make on stupid things. I spent 1,300 quid on a video editing monitor the other week, which is just ridiculous, but it's really good for video editing, to be fair. So that's how much money it makes. And it's been that way for a while now, but just I sink all my money back into it. So it doesn't actually really make any money as such, but it pays for my fun hobby of making YouTube videos. So, but yeah, that's based on, that's a 10-year-old channel with a bank of videos that do really well, and some videos that tend to do really well. One of my motorbike videos did really well the other day, actually. In fact, let me tell you what a good video will make. This was, I think it's like 80,000 views about a month in, something like that. And I'll tell you exactly how much that particular video made. It's called, and it's loading. It's something like Pimp My Shed or something. Oh, YouTube wants to verify me now. No, it doesn't. It's verified me. Right, here we go. 82,000 views is how many it's got. And that's in, wow, that's done really well. 2nd of November, 6 weeks. All right, yeah. Bloody hell. That video has made £342.63, which is massive, actually. That's more than I thought it would have done. It's unusual. Most videos, if I were to look at my Reef Talk channel, these live streams, I think they make about 10 or 15 quid last time I checked. Some do more, most do that kind of level, maybe 20 quid. Sometimes you get more, but the software costs a fortune. So these don't make any money, and it's not uncommon for a video. Most of my videos will make, I don't know, 20 or 30 quid if you're lucky. And sometimes you can end up spending quite a lot of money on making videos. So the TMC tank, although it was free, I've got to buy sand and I've got to buy a few other things. So that might make money, to be fair, but a lot of the time it'll cost you money, which is why I spend all my money, basically. So, but there you go. That's how much it makes. Would you consider a Wanatabe? Is that the standard swallowtail? Wanatabe. Oh, no, that's like the blue one, isn't it? Yeah, no, I don't like them. That's this guy. No, I think they're a little bit boring, but they're Genicanthus, which means they are reef safe. All Genicanthus angels are reef safe. I think they're deep water and plankton or something. I can't remember. I don't like them personally. I think they're a bit boring, but they're cool if you like them. The females look awesome. There you go. Yeah, reef safe angel. If you think it looks cool, Doesn't get much better than that, does it? Nice equals IKEA cabinet. Yeah, just like thick, aren't they? I don't know. Well, that's probably a good thing, but they're just not my cup of tea. Aquaforest make tanks as well. I think they're quite expensive. Oh, and Max Spect, actually. They're also very expensive, to be fair. I managed to pick up a water box secondhand. Guy who had it only had it for 6 months, so pretty much like brand new condition, and it was absolute steal. That is what you want, 6-month-old tank. Because they're not worth much money, so you'll get a bargain. What else have we got? What time are we on? 1:40, 1 hour 40. Miss the risque art. Hang on a second. Right, Ryan who? Yeah, exactly. Don't need him. Don't need you, Ryan. I know you're lurking. Yes, I'm missing his prints. Reef Dork just got to buy something at his farm, and then oh yeah, that's a good point. Whip out the camera and start filming. Yeah, that's it. Oh, I could put like a hidden camera as well, and then like get him to say a load of outrageous stuff and just put that on YouTube. So that'd be brilliant. Ryan told me he wants to film his farm. Ryan told me he wants me to film his farm first. To be fair, you do a much better job of it than I would. You're literally a professional videographer, but I would not forgive Ryan for that. So if we both turn up, it would be like a mini biker gang. Yeah, absolutely. Regards from Brazil. Obrigado. You should invite as a guest Junio Mello, great aquarist from Brazil, was tank of the month in Reef to Reef in the past. Went scuba diving dozens of times. Cool. I'll look him up. I've noticed my bristle worms are reducing lots. Any ideas why? Because you're, I don't know, less food available. Something eating them. I don't know. I never really noticed bristle worms, to be honest. You see them when you pick up rocks or whatever, but yeah, if they should, in theory, they should look after themselves in terms of numbers, because if there's not enough food, then they won't survive, and if there's too much food, they'll breed. So maybe have you reduced your feeding, or have you vacuumed your sandbed more, or have they just started to drop off? You were talking about them the other week. I thought you added a fish that was eating them, or am I making that up, John? Tell me if I'm talking crazy. Acro lighting, added some acro, and it's beautifully brown in 250-ish par. Can it adjust to potentially lower light than ideal? Yes. Yeah, just because it's brown doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. Just acros are just funny sometimes, so just don't give it too much light, and be gentle with it. Cloudberry Chalice is JJS's favorite chalice. Thoughts on? I should probably speed up a little bit, because I do want to get through everything. Don't want to leave people hanging. Thoughts on dosing phyto? I don't bother. I go through stages of dosing it for months, then not. It's a bit like a bit like bay leaf in a soup. Don't know what it does, but can you feel like? Well, so you've done it. Have you noticed a difference when you've been using it? If yes, keep doing it. If no, stop it. I wouldn't bother. It's not one of the things. If you look down the list of things you should do to a reef tank to have success, or things you need to do to a reef tank to have success, dosing phyto is not on that list. So basics, low basico. Another achievement, my pair of white tiger gobies successfully bred. That's cool. Very cool breeding interactions, and I actually witnessed them laying. Pervert. Hi Alex, cheers for doing this. Looking for a 3-foot peninsula tank, which, yeah, you've got limited options. Oh, what? Saw the DD Reef Pro 900 peninsula on their website. I didn't think they did a 3-foot peninsula. DD Reef. Oh, hang on, I'm not typing. DD Reef Pro 900 Peninsula. As far as I'm aware, the only options are the Red Sea one, which is too tall for my liking, and the Neptunian Cube. I can't see a peninsula, a DD Peninsula 3-foot. I think you might be mistaken, but tell me if I'm wrong. There's a 4.5-foot peninsula, which was 2.5 feet wide. That looks amazing. And that was at Aqua H. I did a video on that at Aqua. But as far as I'm aware, the only options for 3-foot peninsula tanks are, well, the UNS Nano 3-foot. But if you want a proper size one, it's the Red Sea Reefer Peninsula 350 and the Ocean Aquariums. Neptunian Cube P3 P900. Anyway, it's that one, and you can get that in the UK apparently. I talked to the distributor at Aqua, and if you contact your local Neptunian Cube dealer, apparently they'll be able to get it. That's the one I would go for. I think it looks wicked. But if you want a taller tank, then the Red Sea one is for you. It's dimensions, whatever you prefer, basically. But I really like the lower one. I like low tanks because you can see top down, and top down is when corals look best. You could go custom. Corals like strawberry shortcake. Bleeding apple. Yeah, corals, strawberry shortcake. I would eat that. Bleeding apple. No, that sounds disgusting. I would not eat that. Blue boo berry zoas. Although bleeding apple's colour looks nice. I don't know what a blue boo berry zoa is, but I would eat it. But now I need to name corals. I can't remember. Yeah, exactly. I'm in the same position as you. Alex, a quick lowdown on light settings that won't kill coral. Oh yeah, I've answered that already, I think. Simplicity makes skimmers, doses, etc. I've not come across them. Opinions on maricultured acros. Maricultured is the ones on the little rocks, right, from Indonesia or whatever. Hardy or not hardy, not sure to take the plunge on a couple of colonies. Less hardy than hobby grown, for sure. And I've never had much luck with wild caught acros. They're much more fussy, especially if you haven't got if you've had a tank for years and it's thriving with banging acros, then no problem. But if that's not the case, they wouldn't be my first choice. I would prefer to buy, if you're in the UK, someone like Signature Frags, established reputation. You can go and see everything, really good corals. So I would go for those personally. But give them a crack because the Indo ones aren't expensive. So what's the worst that can happen? It dies. They made it so you don't AC, so you don't drop off. Oh really? DC. Oh, they did a video with this. So they made it AC so you don't get the drop off you'd get with a DC pump. DC pumps are fine. That feels like a technical benefit. That DC, go DC. It's so much better. That's a shame. How are the solar panels on the shed working out? Think of doing the same. Right. I'm going to make a video on this, but it's not going to be a Reef Talk video. It's going to be on a fourth channel that doesn't yet exist. I've got beer left. Hang on. The channel is called Alex James, which you won't be able to find, unfortunately, because there are no videos on it. But I'm going to make a video on that at some point, and I've also got some Ecotech batteries that I'm going to make a video on that. There's no point doing it on the Reef Talk channel because it's nothing to do with reefing, so it would confuse the algorithm. They are good, but the trouble with the system that I got was the EcoFlow. I think it's called the Power Stream. It's just a solar inverter. It's a basic system, so it allows you to plug your solar panels into it, and then you can connect that to your house. But it doesn't have a battery, so it doesn't regulate anything, and it's just kind of an eat what you kill system. So if your solar panels are generating 1,000 watts of electricity, but your house is only using 300 watts of electricity, then you waste that 700 watts. It can't store it anywhere, and it sends it back to the grid. And if you don't have an agreement, an MCS certificate, an agreement with your supplier, you don't get paid for that. You can get an MCS certificate if you get it installed by an MCS certificate, a certificated installer, but that's expensive and it defeats the point of a cheap system. So they're good, but they're only really good because they're very cheap. And actually, the better thing to do is buy the EcoFlow Stream batteries, because then they can store the energy, the excess energy that you generate, and you can charge them if you have an off-peak rate with your energy supplier. You can charge them at 7 pence per unit overnight and then discharge them into your house, so you don't have to spend so much money on electricity. So they're fine. They're really good if you just want something basic and cheap. The EcoFlow Power Stream micro inverter is good, but it's just I don't know. You need to buy they're really good at extracting money from your EcoFlow. You need to buy their smart meter, because then it'll tell you how much electricity you're using and wasting, and talk to all your other equipment. So it's fine, but it's really basic. And actually, I think the batteries, which are more expensive, a lot more expensive to be fair, but they are much, much better. They're a better option. You're talking about, they do shimmer. No, they might do shimmer, but they don't do shimmer, if you know what I mean. What else have we got? Oh, I got my lid from Reef Print. Oh, really? Reef Print do lids? I did not know that. And I love it. Great quality, but the evaporation cover is a bit ugly. Yeah, I guess that's the trade-off. Once it's on, it looks fine. The thing is, if you're in Australia or a different country, it should be quite expensive. Yeah, the top lids ones are really nice. Ryan's got a top lid one, and that's nicer quality than. So I've had a few from. I've bought a few from Reef Tops, whatever it's called, Reef Tops on Facebook, and they're fine, but they're not like. And the same for London Crack Design. They're fine. They look really nice, but top lids are like a level up. They're much nicer, to be fair. So. But I don't know if you can get them in the UK, and they are. I would assume they're more expensive because they're nicer, but who knows? They'd definitely be more expensive in terms of postage. My Fluo Leeway, but I love Fluo. I want a poly lid. Oh yeah, that's for the lid. Yeah, you are talking about the lid. A cover that no way. But it doesn't bother me too much. I think you're all talking to each other. It's a reverse osmosis UV sterilizer. What the hell? Oh, I see. So that's what it's for. It's specifically to put in your RO reservoir. Now I understand. Right, I'm with you. I've never had the need to put to sterilize the RO water. I wonder what the benefit is. But okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, okay, I'm with you. Also, last week we talked about there was that phosphate removing product that was like Aquaforest 0.4 or something like that. I can't remember what it was called. But I think I got confused. And what I understand now is that you have to put that stuff in a media reactor. I thought it was saying you have to have run like a fluidized sand bed reactor, but I think it's saying that you put the media in a media reactor. You might not remember what I'm talking about, but I've watched it back afterwards and I was like, oh, I think that's what it means. Erectus seahorses at 3 weeks have around 12 remaining, moved to a new larger home to grow out more. I feel like that's halfway through a conversation or something, or are you just telling me that you've got seahorses? Cool. And Hamish, we spent too much money on clown for them to jump. Yeah, you don't want fish jumping. Bad news. I have a 6-line wrasse and a cleaner wrasse together with no aggression. What other wrasse would you add with these pair? Depends on your tank size, but I would be worried. I've never had a 6-line wrasse, but they've got a real bad reputation. Sometimes they're fine, sometimes they're not. But with cleaner wrasses, I've had Halocories wrasses, I've had fairy wrasses. I've had a mystery wrasse. I don't think I had that with a cleaner wrasse actually, but loads are compatible. Just the 6-line is the one that I would be worried about. And I personally, unless it's a big tank, I would be worried about risking that. But is your Aptasia gone from Noisy Stripey? No, he pecked at an Aptasia yesterday, I think it was, for the first time. But he just like had a nip at it and then left it. So I think he's gearing up for the fight. But he still hasn't. That's all. He had a nibble on one, but that's it. He's not done anything else as yet. So we'll see. Time. I've still got time, so I can wait. I can wait. I can be patient. You are talking to someone called Richard. DD of the Peninsula. Yeah, the Peninsula. That wasn't a 3 foot though, was it? Maybe it was. Okay. I'll take your word for it. Cool. In that case, there's a third option. DD tanks are nice as well. Basic sump, but nice. Do they have a gate valve? I think they've got a gate valve. What's your thoughts on Aquarius? I've mentioned that earlier. You have to wind back, but good, but I've not had it long enough. What is your opinion on the Naiku Hyper Reef? I've made videos on that. I've made an unboxing and an actual video. I didn't like it personally. I wouldn't buy it myself because I didn't like the spectrum. You can't separate the blue channel. So I think it's got normal blue and royal blue. Royal blue is the nice one that makes your corals glow. You can't separate them out. And was it the two? There's something else you can't separate as well. So I couldn't get it to look the way I like. But if it's your first light, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about because you'd be like, don't be so fussy. And it might look nice the way you do. But as a budget option, it's brilliant. Very impressive, much better than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, but go and watch the videos. The unboxing is shows you the unboxing stuff, and then the proper video shows you my full thoughts on it. I go into it in a bit of detail, but it's, yeah, for a budget option, very impressive. Alex, you should get Mark from Ocean Sea Products on to show his amazing gear. I've done a video on that on the Ocean Sea Wave. So, and Ryan, I don't really do guests. So should do more guests, but anyway, you need a battery with solar. Yeah, especially that system. Can you recommend a 4 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot tank, preferably an all-in-one? I could not tell you a single option for that. Never seen a 4 by 1 by 1. That's a really weird size. There's a 3 by 1 by 1, which is the Neptunian UNS Ultimate Nature Systems 90A Peninsula or something like that. I've never seen a 4 by 1 by 1. I think you might have to go custom for that. It's normally 18 or 2. Yeah, okay. 4 by 1 would probably have to be a custom. Yeah, everybody else is saying the same thing. Oh, I think we might be close to the end. Having owned many different aquarium sizes, if you could start all over. Yeah, I've had loads, to be fair. If you start all over and only have one tank, what size would you go with? If you mean from if I was starting again now, like this, if I had my knowledge, but it was my first ever tank, if that makes sense, then I would go for 3 foot. My first ever tank was a 3 foot, and I think 3 foot is a brilliant size for your first tank. It's not too big, that it's not it's unmanageable. Water changes aren't a nightmare. Doesn't take up too much space, all that sort of stuff. But also, it's a big enough size that it opens up your fish options a bit. If you've just got a Fluval Evo, they're great, but you can't put any wrasses in it. You can only put 2 or 3 fish in it, maybe 4 at a push. Whereas you've got much more space in a 3 foot tank, obviously. More real estate for corals, because corals grow quick and spread quickly when you get things right. So I would go for a 3 foot tank. If you want to know what size tank I would get, if I had to start over now, I started over 18 months ago and I got the 6 by 2 by 2, and that is the tank I would get. Ideally, it would be, so mine's 2 foot 3 inches front to back. The more front to back width, the better, within reason. But that was probably the best option in terms of dimensions. So 6 by 2 by 2 is a really good size. I'd probably go bigger if I had a bigger house, but I do not. So I think that's probably the size. Hello, I no longer keep saltwater fish. Are there any recommended tank mates for white tip reef shark? White tip reef shark. I've no idea. I've got literally no idea, I'm afraid. I'm guessing you've got a big tank. Your thoughts on Genicanthus angels? They are reef safe. And if you would recommend them, or any tips with Cirrolabrus wrasse species, they'll be fine with wrasses. Yeah. Have I got a Cirrolabrus wrasse? What's the God? What's the one I've got? I think it is. Yeah. What's it called? Oh God, that's not the lineators, is it? Rhomboid. Rhomboid wrasse. Is that a Cirrolabrus? I think it is. Rhomboid wrasse. Yes, it is. So I have a Genicanthus angel and a Cirrolabrus. That's probably not pronouncing it right, but I have those 2 fish together, and they don't know each other exist. They are fine. 6 foot tank, to be fair, but I've got 2 of the rhomboid wrasse as well. But there we go. Yeah, fine, do it. Although the only Genicanthus wrasse, Genicanthus angel I've ever had is the Semifasciatus, which don't come up very often, to be fair. So the other ones, I don't know. Maybe their aggression is different, but they won't. They'll all be coral safe. I've updated here each week on the baby seahorses. Oh right, I see. Okay, gotcha. Cool. Thanks for the update. The male gave birth. 6 hours purchase. Cool. There we go. Yeah, for a white tip reef shark, you're looking at a pond, not a freshwater one though. Also upgrading your skimmer. Hang on. Also upgrading skimmer. Nios, Quantum, or Deltec 600. Deltec for me, completely. I love the Deltecs. They're really good. The quiet build quality is not great, as I've said, but they just work and work really well. Just a bit expensive. Oh yeah. Do you have any good options for a UPS? Yeah. Have I got one up here? No, I haven't. It is, I've made a video on the Reef Talk Extra channel that's called something like, there's a good bit of clickbait in this one. It's called something like, did the Ecotech battery backup just become obsolete? And you have to click on that link. There's a link in the description for that video. What's it called? Oh, someone will know in the chat. I've forgotten what it's called. Talent Cell UPS. If you look that up, that works with MP40s. It's a 12 volt, so it will only work with 12 volt pumps, power heads, and most power heads, 24 volts. MP40s are 24 volts, but the battery backup slot is 12 volts. So that is a really good option because it's much cheaper, smaller, and lighter than the Ecotech one. But it will only work with a 12 volt pump, unfortunately, which restricts you massively. But if you've got Ecotech MP40s, the Talent Cell UPS is brilliant. Alex, you should get Timoras. Timoras is the China Ras, I think they're also known as. Is that right? Timoras? Oh no, those ones. I'm not so keen on them. Let me share my screen so everybody can share in the joy of the Timoras. Yeah, I think they're a bit like a spotty Halichoris, a spotty Melanaris Ras. Christian Signer Franks has advised me. Oh no, I thought we were at the end. Has advised me, we're nearly there though, to dose live phytoplankton. So I purchased a Pacific Sun phytoplankton reactor, which is a fantastic piece of kit that's been running for 6 months with no crashes. There you go then. Alex, have a great rest of your afternoon, and we'll probably get you guys 5-0. Yeah. Come on. We get this is it now. England we've had 3 games to warm up. You're in for it. But yeah, have a good day. You could probably replace Zach Crawley now. Crawley should stay. Pope should go. Who else should go? I don't think we need to talk about cricket, do we? I think it's you, me, and one other person maybe who wants to talk about cricket. Bryden Cast should probably drop out. Jamie Smith has been frustrating, but there aren't any other options. Don't really have many other options. That's a problem. Merry Christmas, everybody. I think we've done it. We've got to the end, bang on the 2-hour mark. So brilliant. Thank you all for joining. Have a great Christmas, and I will see you before the new year. So have a great Christmas, and bye. See you next week.